dare you brave the elements this summer? Valhalla, ride the adventure at Blackpool Pleasure Beach.
Welcome back to Expedition Weekly. On this week's episode, we'll be heading back to Lancashire, England and taking a look at the longest indoor dark water ride ever created, Valhalla.
Blackpool Pleasure Beach has the longest dark ride in the world.
Located at Blackpool Pleasure Beach, Valhalla is an indoor dark ride as well as a very wet water ride. Opening on the 14th of June 2000, this £15 million ride is one of the most expensive water rides ever to be built. The ride's concept was conceived by the former park owner Geoffrey Thompson, with the ride based on Valhalla from Norse mythology. This was actually Geoffrey's last ride opening at Blackpool before his death in 2004. For those unfamiliar with Norse mythology, Valhalla means Hall of the Fallen, and is where the Norse god Odin houses the dead he deems worthy of dwelling with him. The Sana Company, who have worked on other UK attractions such as the monorail at Alton Towers and the Old Pirates 4D attraction at Thorpe Park, were brought in for the design of the ride. Other companies were utilised to cover the animations and effects that were seen throughout the attraction, while Intamin will provide the water transit system. The ride's building would be situated on the site of the old funhouse, which had burned down in 1991. The ride itself would be housed inside a huge 80-foot tall show building and would be covered with a large rock facade, complete with a large waterfall flowing down onto the ride station. Over 12,000 gallons of water fall over the edge per minute. This facade had to be rebuilt in 2012 as it had begun to decay and parts of it had eroded. Designers wanted Valhalla to be the landmark attraction for the park, and wanted to combine a white-knuckle flume ride with theatrical elements of audio-visual sequences to add story to the experience. They wanted the ride to feature all elements, including fire, water, snow, and thunder and lightning, complete with extreme temperature changes. The finished ride would go on to feature all of these elements when they were working, plus more, including 2 turntables to spin the flumes around for a backward surprise. The finished ride was seen as a huge feat of engineering, with the water flume recycling more than 100,000 gallons of water a minute, which is used to propel up to 2,000 riders per hour along the roughly 6-minute long attraction. The ride also features the use of 35,000 cubic feet of gas an hour to provide the flame effects used in the finale of the ride. With all these effects, it is estimated that the ride costs at least £150,000 a month to run when operating at full capacity. The ride features 16 themed scenes, and riders are warned before entering the station that they will get wet, but could also have the potential to get soaked. The boat travels like a traditional log flume, and when it leaves the station enters the huge show building through a skull with a Viking helmet. Without wanting to give too much away about the ride, some of the effects and tricks riders would experience are a steam room, 2 drops, a cold room with temperatures plummeting to minus 20 degrees Celsius, a surprise turntable for a backwards element, a tunnel of water jets, and an explosive fireball finale. With the ride being fully enclosed except for a brief semi-outdoor section featuring the turntable element, it is hard to see how big the drops are, and this adds to the overall thrill of the attraction. The darkness and show scenes offer a thrilling and sometimes scary dark ride complete with enough water to get riders completely soaked. What is also a neat feature of this attraction is that it features a 60-foot drop, but the ride vehicles, which are for 6 or 8 people, would not feature any restraints but would only have grab rails for each row. This adds to the thrill of the ride again, though the riders are warned not to lean forward during the drops. When Valhalla opened in 2000, it received many positive reviews, and won accolades for best water and for best dark ride. Some early complaints were just how wet the ride would get you, especially in the British weather. A few years after the ride opened, some of the special effects started to become unreliable. Special effects were often frequently rotated for maintenance or effects turned off to save costs. In the 2004 season, one of the nearby rides, the Grand National roller coaster, caught fire, damaging the ride and the nearby Alice in Wonderland dark ride. This fire was actually helped to be extinguished by some of the water inside the Valhalla attraction, due to how much of it was available. As the decade wore on and more effects were becoming unreliable, as well as audio problems throughout the ride, a decision was taken at the end of the 2011 season to take the ride down for refurbishment. As well as the facade needing to be rebuilt, some changes were made to the scenes within, including the removal of a section featuring lighting effects, which was to be replaced by 2 skeletons and laser effects. The ride's audio was also updated during the refurbishment. The ride would reopen on the 5th of May 2012, though the waterfall feature on the outside remained off until later in the season. The ride remains open to this day and is still winning accolades. Valhalla even won the prestigious Golden Ticket Award for the best water ride on the planet for 4 years in a row, from 2015 until 2018.
Valhalla promises high speeds and plenty of sensory stimulation during its 6-minute ride.
For its time, the ride was a revelation in theming for a water-based dark ride, and to some extent still is. Some of the effects may be unreliable and others look somewhat cheesy in parts, but for me, this still adds to the charm, as with most of Blackpool Pleasure Beach. This is still one of the best dark rides in the UK, and if you're ever in the area, I do encourage you to check out this ride. Just don't forget to pack a poncho though. We will see you next time.